As a driver, what do you do when you see a cyclist on the road ahead? And as a cyclist, what are some tips and gear that can help keep you safe? We're talking bike and car safety next on 0 to 60 TV by LeithCars.com. One of our area's largest bike events is set for July 4th, the Firecracker ride. So we thought it'd be a great time to go over a few bicycle and car safety tips to keep everybody safe when we're sharing the road together. And to help us do that is Peter Cousin with All-Star Bike Shop, and Jim is our cyclist on his bike. So Peter, first of all, thank you for being on the show today. And
my pleasure.
Talking about a very important subject here, and especially with the big bike event coming up. So we have our pavement marked behind you here.
Yes, we do.
We will start with, me as a driver, and we have Eric in the Jaguar XKR behind us. As a driver is approaching a cyclist, and here's Jim on his bike, what kind of, distance or space, is recommended to give the cyclist as you are passing them on the road?
Well, there are a couple different numbers that are thrown out there, but what we recommend is at least 3 feet from that inner blue tape there to the end of the tape measure. Whenever possible, 4 feet is ideal.
Yeah. And Jim, when it's not a single cyclist, but say a group of cyclists like you'll have in the Firecracker ride, what can the group of cyclists do to stay safe when you have approaching vehicles that need to pass? What can the group of cyclists do?
That's a good question. Typically what we like to do as a group is to alert the other cyclist, hey, there's a car behind us, let's tighten up, meaning let's get a little bit closer side to side, a little bit closer front to back to make it easier for the car or cars to pass us. We want to share the road with the drivers. We don't want to take over the road. We don't want to get hit. No one wants to get hit, and drivers typically are courteous if they see us being courteous. So even though it looks perhaps like, hey, we're taking over a little bit more road because there's two of us side by side, we actually make it a little bit easier for the car to pass.
And are you guys using hand signals? How does the rider up front know that there's a car approaching from the rear?
That's another good question. The key is communication. Typically the rider in back, either using the radar that we will talk about or a mirror, sees a car behind him. I'll yell out, car back. And every rider ahead of me should yell up, car back, car back, car back. So the person in front knows, hey, there's a car back, and the whole group knows what to do. Same way when there's a hole or obstruction in the front. The rider in front will yell hole, rock, whatever, communicate that all the way back. So it's all about good group communication.
Very important question. Say that you are on a road where there is a divided yellow line, okay? And a driver is approaching you, whether it's the single rider or a group. Is it okay for that driver of the vehicle to pass even though there's a double yellow line?
That's a great question. So to pass a slow moving vehicle, at least in this jurisdiction, in this state, yes, you can pull out over that double yellow line, assuming there's a safe distance you can see ahead in order to pass. So definitely don't just sit behind the biker if you can pass. If there's a double yellow line, you're within your rights to pass that biker by crossing the double yellow line. And that applies to other slow-moving vehicles as well, not just bicyclists. Could be a tractor, could be a slow-moving vehicle. If it's safe to cross that double yellow line to pass that slow-moving vehicle, go ahead and do it.
All right, so Jim, what about you as a cyclist? What do you do, or what can a cyclist do when you're riding on the road to be more aware of the vehicular traffic that might be around you?
Well, of course, you have the mirror to see the traffic behind you. You can buy a technology like the radar to know a car is coming up. But it really comes down to being aware of your surroundings, knowing if someone's coming up behind you, maybe listening a little bit. I see a number of riders with earbuds, which I think is a horrible idea. You want to be aware of your surroundings.
So don't wear earbuds.
I would not wear earbuds.
Okay.
If you want to do it when you're in the gym on a stationary bike, great. But if you're out here trying to stay alive, you want to be able to hear a car behind you, something else behind you, a dog, an animal. You want to be aware of your surroundings.
All right, Jim, that leads us into our next segment here, and Peter, you're going to help us with that. So let's go back to your shop, and Peter is going to show us some of the latest bike safety gear to keep cyclists like Jim or you safe when you're sharing the road with a driver. You know, Peter, in a lot of today's current cars, there's some kind of radar or safety technology that will alert the driver when objects near the car, the vehicle. So in the cyclist world, is there any kind of safety tech or even maybe a radar for bike riders that would alert the rider to approaching vehicles? And what about some of the other safety gear?
Well, there's a couple things here. I'm going to grab this Garmin light. It has a sensor built in that connects with your Garmin head unit that will alert you to cars approaching from the rear. Very handy. This is the latest version that we have in stock, but there is a new one coming with a high definition camera and an app that you can actually record people approaching from the rear in 1080 or 720
and that'll go to
resolution. That'll go to an app, and it'll record everything, your ride from 20 minutes to a number of hours. There is also obviously a helmet that goes without question, but this is called an Angie sensor, and what this will do, this will alert pre-programmed people into your phone. In the event of a crash, it'll sense a crash, it'll give you a GPS location, and that way, you know, people can be alerted to there's been an incident, and they can come and find you.
So that's like the old, you know, I've fallen and I can't get up.
Something like that, but 21st century for sure. And then every rider has their own personal preference of safety-wise, what they want, what they don't want. Mirrors are very popular, whether it's on a helmet or eyeglasses or in the end of your handlebars, especially for the road riders that we're talking about for the Firecracker ride 2022.
Peter, I noticed you've got one of your cyclists jerseys back here. So is this considered part of safety gear? You know, if you want to take it that far, or is it just looking cool and staying cool when you're out there riding?
Well, it's really a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Look, with the Capital Cycling Club, with the Firecracker ride this year, they all ride with their actually club affiliation. Yep. Some riders like the neon green, very high visibility jersey. This one here obviously advertises the shop, but if you turn it around, there are pockets in the back to keep your nutrition, maybe your phone, other things that you need for a ride, an extra water bottle perhaps. But it also tracks the driver of a car. It makes you more visible, maybe to give you a little bit more visibility. And then along with lights, you should be seen.
Yeah, front light,
rear light for sure.
Even in daytime?
Absolutely. Most of these lights have a flashing mode, which attracts a driver's attention, and some of these are visible up to half a mile away.
Well, Peter, thank you so much for going over some of the current safety tech. It's pretty amazing, you know, what's available. Peter with All-Star Bike Shops, and thank you, Peter, for All-Star Bike Shops' involvement in the Firecracker ride coming up, which we're going to learn a bit about coming up next. All right, joining me now is Eric Rude, who is president of the Capital Cycling Club. Thank you for being here at All-Star Bike Shop today, Eric.
Thank you.
And thanks for letting us use your Jaguar XKR and your bike out there for the safety demo.
Absolutely. Actually purchased the car from you a few years back, so have it serviced there too. So thank you very much.
Awesome. So Eric, tell us about the big charity ride that's coming up July 4th, Firecracker ride, correct?
Yeah, the Firecracker ride. We've been doing the ride since 1992. It started out with just a few people, a few friends, looking for something to do before the family festivities on the 4th of July. So they started riding. Year after year, it grew and grew. After a few years, it got so big, somewhere around 250 to 300 riders, and then we had MS join us to be the beneficiary of the ride. So all of the charity money that we raised for MS of North Carolina.
So, you know, over the years, you guys must have raised a lot of money towards that great cause, right?
That is correct. Since 1992, we've raised a couple $100,000 for MS. In the last just 3 or 4 years alone, we've raised over $50,000. Last year, we raised our record amount, $20,000 in 1 year.
Charity bike ride, it goes to North Carolina MS, the Firecracker ride, and July 4th, but where does it take place?
So the ride leaves one of our biggest sponsors and partners, Carolina Brewing Company. It's down Thomas Mill Road, heads south towards Cokesbury, and then winds its way back around Sharon Harris Lake, then Jordan Lake, and then back to the brewery for post-ride fun with food trucks and beverages.
That's a good place to stop after the race.
Yeah, it is.
How many miles is that, dude?
There is 3 different lengths.
Yeah.
So we have a 100K, and we have a 60K, and then a 30K.
Okay, so for different levels or different levels of involvement?
Yes,
for the
yeah,
riders.
so sometimes it's fitness, sometimes it's time. I only have so much time to do the ride. So your 100K is 63 miles, your 60K is somewhere around 30, and then your 30K is somewhere around 15 miles. So the front group's probably gonna average around 24, 25 miles an hour. The slower groups will average maybe 12, 13, 14 miles an hour.
I got you. Eric, so how long is this ride? What time of the day does it start on the 4th?
Okay, so on the 4th, the mass rollout for the lead group is at 8 o'clock. And then shortly after that, the second group will go out. And then shortly after that, the third group will go out.
All right, so we've already heard this is a huge ride. It's been going on for 30 years now, right? How can folks get involved in the Firecracker ride? Where do they go for info? Can they volunteer? Can they just donate? What's the deal?
Perfect question. So the best place to go is capitalcyclingclub.org. There you'll see some links for the Firecracker ride. You'll see links for the volunteer pages, and you'll see links for the donation pages. If you can't make the ride, you are more than welcome just to sign up and donate to MS. If you can make the ride, you can do both. We have a lot of gear this year. We have jersey, t-shirt, hat, all for sale. Every bit of that money goes to benefit MS.
All right, Firecracker ride coming up July 4th, and I want to thank you, Eric, and Peter and Jim for being a part of the episode today and here at All-Star Bike Shop, and being able to go over some bike and vehicle safety tips to keep everybody safe as we share the road. Thank you for watching this episode of 0 to 60 TV by LeithCars.com.